So, folks, today I'm going to expand on the stuff that I've talked about, the empath guide to navigating narcissism. And today, specifically, how do you checkmate a narcissist? So it's interesting, folks, because I find that on my channel, whenever I mention narcissism, like the viewers, the viewing figures tend to shoot up. So I never really wanted this to be a central focus for the channel, but it seems that that is the content that you guys like. So I'm going to expand on it. So before I go into this, in case you're finding this for the first time, what qualifies me to talk about this stuff? Well, I've spent a lifetime and dealing with narcissism. I have direct experience in my family dealing with a narcissistic mother. I've dealt with narcissists in business, and I have reached a point in my life now where I have managed to successfully navigate all of these areas of my life. Some would say perhaps controversially, but this is all about the root of the healer, the empath, the light worker, the person that's full of empathy and wants to do good in the world, the person that wants to give back and to be the best of themselves, but somehow gets clipped by a negative force, which is quite often a narcissist. So my previous videos, just to recap on this subject, is that healers and empaths wanting to do good, wanting to see the best in people, wanting to be the happy medium, wanting to be the peacemaker, our desire to do all of this sometimes opens the gate to the fox in the chicken pen. And the fox in the chicken pen is a narcissist. And how do you identify a narcissist? So let's look at the checkpoints. Now, my frequent flyers, my regulars will already know all of this stuff, which is why I'm going to summarize it and be as quick as I can. Let's get right to the point of this, and let's very quickly identify narcissistic traits. So the most simple one is, the longer you've been with, you'll know this. The narcissist is always right, always. And it's not enough for the narcissist to be always right, but they need to make you wrong. And the best trick of the narcissist is to take all of their bullshit beliefs and get you to believe that it's your fault. They'll do terrible things and they'll get you somehow to believe that it's your fault that they've done that. It's unbelievable. It's a bit like a president that presses the nuclear button and then blames their chief of staff. Well, the buck stops with you folks. So that's the narcissist, and they're going to show up in the lives of healers and empaths for the reason that they're going to help you to facilitate you to become more empowered, more assertive, and to raise your game, to raise your energy with the purpose of realizing that life is not all sweetness and light, and you are not all sweetness and light. So there you go. I'm not even here to fully blame the narcissist. They are an essential part of the potion, folks, that's going to change your life, that's going to change it. So the only way your life changes is if you take complete responsibility for everything that's happened. Now, the easiest thing is, as a healer, is to become the victim. That's where blame. So there's two things that hold us back. Every single one of your problem is based on these two things, folks. Two things in your life, big problems. First one is guilt. And the second one is judgment. Guilt and judgment are the pillars that every other problem in your life stems from. So judgment, let's look at this. So judgment is when we blame other people, we point the finger, we talk about people behind their back. We do stuff. We talk about people, but we're not prepared to do anything about it. And guilt comes from that surreptitious journey, the stuff that we do that we're not proud of. And quite often, that guilt and judgment, we judge other people so that people won't discover our own guilt. There's a lot more complicated stuff. That's several videos, folks. I'm just oversimplifying now. And Narcissists are attracted into the path of the healer to get them to own their darker aspects of their personality, to get them to create boundaries, healthy boundaries in their life. Because the gift of the empath is giving. The curse of the empath is knowing when not to give. There's no boundaries. So people encroach on our boundaries, and eventually you'll end up feeling trapped, feeling like shit, feeling stuck in a relationship. You'll feel lost in life because if you don't have boundaries in place, other people will put their boundaries and they'll cross over yours at every available opportunity. And if you're the person that continues to drop everything to help everyone else, then that's when things go wrong for the healer. So there's a bit of back history, folks, to help you with this navigating this very difficult dynamic. So we've discussed that this all happens for a reason. The other thing that you need to know is it can sometimes take years and years and years to wake up to this. It's very common for healers to end up in relationships with narcissists because they play a really good job at pretending to be our best friend while simultaneously being our worst enemy. The person that builds us up and then the person that cuts us down when it's time for their own entertainment, because the whole world revolves around them. A narcissist, their whole world is about them. And that's just the way the narcissist is wired. So let me just get to the end game here. The end game, the checkmate, folks. There's only one true checkmate maneuver for a narcissist, and that is to get out of their web, to get out of their world, to get out of their radar. Now, if there's kids involved, that's a lot more complicated. But ultimately, it's to live in a separate space or to have a set of boundaries that are either respected by the narcissist or that's it. There has to be a cutoff point. There doesn't just have to be a cutoff point, folks. There has to be the threat of the cutoff point, and then you have to be prepared to go through it. And this stuff is a lot easier said than done. It's always easier said than done, folks. I'm giving you the very fast track of what takes people decades to ultimately own. So let's look at the progression. Healers want to heal. They want to do good in the world. They'll attract darker forces because we tend not to have boundaries. The healer tends to drop everything for everyone. And people that love that giving nature are narcissistic dark forces who will take and take and take and take until you've got nothing left to give. That's their end game. And then they'll spit you out and move on to the next person. That's it. And you'll feel absolutely drained. You'll feel empty. You'll feel ruined. You'll feel probably pretty angry at that stage and quite possibly feel suicidal. So that's the end game for the empath and narcissist if it goes unchecked. Now, you can make the relation better by putting boundaries in place. It is possible to do that, but it's hard work and it's a lot easier to get out, folks. It's a lot easier to find someone that isn't narcissistic, that has some empathy and is able to at least give back in a way that you want to receive. So that's the end game. Checkmating a narcissist is about you creating boundaries, what you will accept and what you won't. And when people move out of that boundary, off switch. So in certain way, it's about you becoming a little bit more ruthless. It's the only way, because the healer loves to give, loves to mediate, loves to see the other side. The narcissist doesn't. The narcissist only has one side. It's just them all the time. And you'll know it if you're stuck in that relationship. There's no winning. They're always right. You're always wrong. There's never really a halfway house. The only halfway house is you compromising, 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 compromising until you reach a point in life where you've got nothing left to give. And the wake-up call and the brutal wake-up call for the healer and the empath is one day realizing that for all of your hard work of finding the middle ground, of trying to navigate their bad moods, of making excuses for their bad behavior, of trying to justify it to their friends, of seeing the best in people, which are all good traits that the healer and the empath, the light worker bring to the mix. I don't want you to lose those folks, but what I do need you to do is turn on the radar to notice and to identify people that do not have that. And the narcissist doesn't. They don't. They don't have any empathy, and they don't care what you think or feel. They don't feel anything towards your pain. They can look on cold. They are the jailers in the jail that just love. They're the people that want to press the switch with the electric button there and watch people electrocute in front of them. They feel nothing. They will feel nothing about ruining your life and then moving on to the next person. So the lesson for the healer, the checkmate for the healer, is boundaries. If you say to your person, you want to know if they're a narcissist, you say, that's it. The next time this happens, game over. And unfortunately, the only thing that will likely work with a narcissist is to ignore them, to get out of their world and to find someone that isn't a narcissist. That is the least pain route, folks. It's hard, it's not easy, but it's the only way that you checkmate a narcissist. Because the only thing that they understand that will give them pain is when they can't control you anymore. The narcissist is all powerful. The narcissist is the Sauron, is the target, is the person or the thing or the entity, the energy that's going to make your life miserable, and will just focus on you until you're no longer an easy target, and then they move on to someone else. But that's not your problem. Another part of the healing process. What the lesson that you have to learn for life is that there's a point where you have to put your energy, your desires, your needs ahead of everybody else. Because if you don't, you'll end up dead, suicidal, dead, drained at the very best. That's the end game, empaths, if you don't wake up to this dynamic, which is why I want you to start thinking that the narcissist is actually your friend. It's your friend inviting you to wake up and to switch them off so that they can then go and move on to the next person. I wish there was a fast track. I wish there was a happy ending that involved, oh, them suddenly developing a sense of empathy and waking up to this. But that's probably not going to happen, folks. So hopefully that this video has given you the tools and the awareness to plant the seeds to start the journey to a better place for you. But that can only happen the day that you decide to step up and to own your power. And if you haven't yet stepped up and owned your power and got these tools and built these boundaries, then like and subscribe to this channel, and I will drip feed you information and tools that will help you on your journey so that you will eventually be able to get that checkmate maneuver with every single negative force in your life. So there you go, folks. Good luck on your journey. I'm sorry if this wasn't the information you were looking for. It wasn't maybe what you wanted to hear, but I can guarantee if you're a healer, an empath, or a light worker, that you needed to hear this information and that you're watching this for a reason. Especially if you're watching at this point, it means that it's probably resonated at a deeper level than most people that will come across it. So this message is for you. You're invited to join the journey. You're invited to join the channel, and you're invited to get more free resources from me to help you on what can be a very difficult journey.